friend, a woman who was moving out of an apartment. She was selling all of her furniture, so for $100, I got some a living room couch and a chair and a table, and I got a bed, 2 single beds and a dresser and a night table and a lamp for the bedroom. That'll get them started, but I'm not doing dishes, and I'm not doing linens, and I'm not, and kept the utilities. It was only electric and water, kept them in my name. And I called Bruce. I said, I have a lease. So he comes in the day before he wants to move in. He gets the lease, and he looks at the lease. He said, oh, do you know you spelled my name wrong? Yeah. I said, I did. Bruce Springsteen. He said, well, you spelled it Bruce Springsteen, S-T-E-I-N. I said, yeah, well, you're Jewish. I mean, isn't that? I really thought he was Jewish. I mean, I'm from Deal. I mean, everybody's Jewish in Deal. He said, no, it's Steen, E-E-N, S-T-E-E-N. Oh, he said, I'm Dutch. I'm not Jewish. Oh, I said, I'm sorry, I'll do another lease. No, he said, that's fine, I'll sign it, and I'll just sign my name, spell it right, and so on and so on. Just keep that in mind. This is a 25-cent lease, boilerplate, with the name spelled wrong. Bruce signs it, so we'll put that over here for the moment. Okay, so then as he's leaving, he says, I really appreciate this, I'm looking forward to living in the house. He said, anytime you want tickets to my concerts, you just call me. And here's the number of my agent in New York, Laurel Cannon and Canyon, and I'm sure they'll be able to get you tickets. I said, oh, okay, no problem. I've never been to a Springsteen event, a concert, whatever he did in those days, a few things. And I said, okay, that sounds like a plan. So, Bruce is in the house. He's got furniture. I'm paying the utilities. The lease is signed, and that's it. Life goes on until.
Let's stop for a second. Now, you mentioned your mother really had no idea who Bruce was.
No.
You've never been to a Bruce concert. We may be able to fix that next weekend, by the way. That's another story.
I've been to them.
Oh, okay, since then. All right, fine. But you hadn't been at the time.
At the time,
How familiar were you with Bruce's music? Had you heard his first 2 albums at all? Did you own them?
Only after he became my tenant did I buy his albums, so that I could, get a sense of what he did, what his music was. But my brother, my younger brother, had been to some of his concerts and really liked them and enjoyed the music. But back then, I think the biggest one that hit the charts was Sandy. I think that was it at the time. Maybe Blinded by the Light showed up every now and then. But it was, that was the beginning of my, thing with him.
So you had a clue, but it wasn't like you would call yourself a fan.
You bet.
All right. Now, since we're talking landlords, I'm going to be a little self-referential again, talk about the real thing, because I actually talked to the landlord at the last house that the Springsteen family was in. Now, you heard Bruce say on the DVD, this is the first house I ever lived in by myself. It's not exactly true, see, because when the family moved out to California in 1969, and this is actually the landlord of the house on South Street, a guy named John Duckett, who I talked to in preparing my paper, he said that Bruce's mother had actually arranged for him to stay in the house after the family picked up and left. But Mr. Duckett, the landlord, said, all right, you got to do 2 things. Pay the rent on time and keep up the place. Bruce paid the rent on time, but he didn't quite keep up the place. A few months down the line, there was an issue with a second-floor window in the bedroom that he wanted to get open one day, and it got stuck, and he got a little frustrated and kicked in the window. And that was the end of Bruce's days in Freehold. Which raises the question for you, Marilyn, did he pay the rent on time, and did he keep up the place?
Okay. Well, I'll just back up 1 paragraph here, and I will tell you that the week after Bruce moved into his house, I got a phone call from this kid, Max Weinberg.
Oh.
Hi, he said, I was just, I got your name from Bruce Springsteen, you rented him a house? Yeah, he said, I just joined his band, and I want to, he's from North Jersey somewhere, and he said, I want to come down there and I want to rent a house just like Bruce's. And I said, well, I don't know if I have one just like Bruce's, but why don't you come down and we'll look around. Okay, so Max comes down the next day, we get, start looking for places and looking around. Now, these guys have no money. I mean, you know, it's really, he wanted to pay $175 a month. So we went all the way north to Fairhaven, which is near Rumson, and then all the way south to Bradley Beach, and we ended up I said, I can't find anything. We said, well, I just want to be near Bruce because we're going to have to get together, we're going to be going back and forth to New York, blah, blah, blah. So long story short, I rented him a one-bedroom garden apartment near Tackanassie Lake on Greens Avenue. That's what he settled into for his first home.
And that's where?
If you were going, Cedar Avenue is the east-west street out here in Monmouth. If you go down Cedar Avenue towards the ocean and you make a right at one point, you'll go with Greens Avenue is sort of like here's Cedar, here's the street you turn off of, and then Green goes this way, kind of parallel.
So you're talking about Long Branch?
It's West End.
It's still in the West End.
Right near Tackanassie Lake. It was just a garden apartment. Anyway, okay, so we get Max in, he's very happy. 2 days later, I get a call from Danny Federici. Hi, my name is Danny Federici. I'm a friend of Bruce Springsteen's. I know that Max Weinberg's been, and he said, I'm looking for a place. He said, I have a wife and I have a kid, and he said, we're in a place, we need a bigger place, and I really can't afford much, but I'm with Bruce Springsteen, I'm in his band. He said, I wonder if you could help me find a place. I need at least 2 bedrooms, and for the, my God, how much can you afford, Danny? Well, I don't know, 150, 160, you know, I'm gonna rent a room in my basement. I said, all right, well, let's see what we can do. So I go over every listing I have. Long story short, the only thing I can find for him is a 2-bedroom apartment over a retail space on Main Street and Madison Avenue in Asbury Park. So it's the guy who bought the place, had just renovated the apartment. He's charging $120 for this 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath place, and Danny and for his wife and his kid to go into. So they move into this place. He was thrilled. I mean, it was cheap and it was local and, you know, it was easy. So I'm taking care of the 3 boys. All right, so let's get back to Bruce because I want to show you something.
Right.
Bruce was a great tenant. I mean, this guy was paying his rent early, before, I never knew what month it was due because he kept coming up with the money. Now, Bruce never had a checking account, when at least I didn't know of it. But he used to call me and say, I'm going to be leaving, some money, or I'm going to be coming over and I'm going to give you the rent. So, number one, please. I would. Hello.
Everything worked fine this morning. Of course, it's not working.
Okay. Well, if I have to read it, I'll read it anyway. Okay.